Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Sonny Gray says he hates the New York Yankees. Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual. And Low-Lev Dev packs his bags and goes cross town. Thank you, God. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. We got 71 days until pitchers and catchers, folks, and foul territory in Ken Rosenthal. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
Well, what's going on, folks? Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. And man, the news is coming fast and furious with the hot stove news. News is breaking every minute, it seems like, and we got you covered right here. Put those notifications on so you can get all the alerts, baby, because we got Sonny Gray running his mouth about the New York Yankees today. You know, a guy, I guess, just can't go to a new team without shitting on another team that he's been on, but that's exactly what Sonny Gray decided to do today when he spoke to the press about his experience with the New York Yankees. Before I play it, let me just tell you, when Sonny Gray was a healthy scratch from the postseason and had an ERA of 6, the question that Sonny Gray might want to ask himself is it us or is it you? And now that you opened up your giant yapper, now all the pressure is going to be on you in Beantown this year. Because guess what? If you have the same exact performance that you gave here in New York, the Boston Red Sox fans will eat you alive, Sonny Gray. You say you don't like us much? Well, guess what? We don't like you either, Sonny Gray, because your time here, what we like to call a cup of coffee, was diggity dog shit. And the only time you've had any kind of success is when you're playing in Serbia, like the Cincinnati Reds or the St. Louis Cardinals, who haven't won shit in a dog's age. So therefore, Sonny Gray decided to make it a good career move to open up his yapper. Let's hear what he had to say.
My decision to come to Boston is it feels good to me to go to a place now where, you know what, it's easy to hate the Yankees, right? It's easy to go out and have that rivalry. And
well, I hope this guy can put a sentence together better than he can pitch, because I can see why it didn't work in New York now, because do you see how fast we talk? Here in New York, we live as fast as a New York minute, no pun intended, and that's what we do. And Sonny Gray's like, well, it's a good place to hate the Yankees, and then the Yankees are a good place to hate this guy. Mark my words, a 4.36 ERA by the time April rolls around, okay? You guys are going to get mopped up in this deal.
And go in it with full force, full steam ahead. I like the challenge. I appreciate the challenge. I accept the challenge. But this time around,
this sounds like a 6th grader that is unprepared for his diorama project. So, Sonny Gray, now I'm starting to see why you can't handle the stress in New York. And guess what? We don't like you in New York anyway. So every time you come to town now, it's going to be a living nightmare for you. But sometimes the best moves you make are the ones that you don't. And what I mean by that is the Yankees not re-signing Low-Lev Dev. If you watched the live feed yesterday, I was giddy. I was giggling. I was clicking my heels. No more of my heart in my throat. You got to remember, Devin Williams was brought in here to be the closer of the New York Yankees. At one point in the month of August, he was pitching in the 6th inning. That's why I call him Low-Lev Dev. He literally took Jonathan Loaiza's spot when he got hurt. Now, Devin Williams signs a 3-year, $50 million plus deal with the New York Mets. So the question is immediately, are the Mets moving on from Diaz? Diaz, is it? I say the Yankees should snatch him immediately, if not sooner. Listen, man, Devin Williams couldn't handle the pressure in New York. What do you think that he's going to be able to handle the pressure in Queens? And all those Met fans that were busting the Yankee fans' balls when we got Devin Williams going, I think Pete Alonso broke Devin Williams in the playoffs when he was on the Brewers. Well, guess what? The former general manager of that team is now your general manager, and he's brought Devin Williams in, and it looks like Pete Alonso is going to leave town. So how quickly it can change in 2 years. And also, the New York Mets have enough problems on their hands. Looks like Juan Soto's dating a porn star, and the locker room is in shambles. But I digress. Now Devin Williams will be their closer, and for a guy that had a 5+ ERA, for a guy that gave up 15 earned runs, and for every single Yankee fan holding their breath every time this guy came into the game, thank God Low-Lev Dev is out of the Bronx and in Queens. Good luck, guys. You know what? Maybe he can be John Franco 2.0 and blow every game he gets his hands on. Now let's go over to the boys at Foul Territory and Ken Rosenthal, one of the best in the business. He's going to break down the Devin Williams and everything that's going on in Major League Baseball hot stove. Guys, like I told you, this is your AL East and baseball station. Let's go to the videotape.
Mets adding Devin Williams here.
I pretty much have the same opinion as most of my fellow writers, it seems, which is good move, but necessary still to have Edwin Diaz in the back of that bullpen if you're building a really strong bullpen. If you've got Devin Williams as your closer, well, you better build a strong group in front of him, which they ultimately could do anyway. But I'd like this a whole lot better if it's Williams setting up for Diaz. Not that Devin Williams can't close. Of course he can. But
Devin Williams can close. Yeah, well, I could try to be a center in the NBA, but I don't think it's going to work out well. Devin Williams isn't a closer. He's an eighth inning guy at best. And the way that Devin Williams turned his season around is when they dropped him in the bullpen. They dropped him to sixth, and that's where he got all of his mojo back. 9 complete starts with 0 earned runs, and then they started to trickle him in the 7, 8, 9. And as soon as the leverage got high, he started to give up runs. So yes, it was a tale of two cities with Low-Lev Dev this year, and he did have a strong second half of the season. But sometimes first impressions are the biggest things. And our first impression of Devin Williams was him giving up runs in bunches, and he was supposed to be the closer of the team.
As a setup man for Edwin Diaz, that is a combination that a championship team would want, and you could see becoming something truly special.
Go for it, AJ.
My question is, which one do you think they're going to be better at, Ken? Getting Edwin Diaz and trying to use Devin Williams as a setup guy? Or can they go out and fill it to make Devin Williams? Because basically when he was at his best, he was a 1-inning guy. They brought him in the 9th in Milwaukee after getting through 8 innings and saying, go get the 9th in a clean inning. So which one do you think the Mets favor doing?
Well, it's going to depend on price. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but if they feel
What new, Ken?
If they feel Edwin Diaz's price is excessive, they're not going to sign Edwin Diaz. But if you're asking me which is the better way to go,
now, as far as the Yankees are concerned, I could see the Yankees throwing money at Edwin Diaz. Think about this. They're not going to re-sign Devin Williams. And I put a post up, please don't re-sign Devin Williams. So they're going to save that $18 million that they would probably allocate towards him. Throw a little relish on that hot dog and go get Edwin Diaz. Because if the New York Yankees are going to be cheapskates and sit on their hands, might as well bolster the bullpen. And with Duvall, with Bednar, with Cruz, with Tim, King of the Hill, that's a formidable bullpen. And go get the closer from Tampa Bay while you're at it. If the Yankees can't get positional players, go and load up that bullpen for help and alleviate that starting rotation. Just in case guys do go down, you can stretch the bullpen out. Brian Cashman did an excellent job of rebuilding this bullpen on the fly, unless your name is Bird, last year. And that's why Devin Williams sucks, because we had to go out and get a whole bullpen while Devin Williams was still in the locker room for the New York Yankees. So now the Mets go and overpay for this guy. I don't know if they want him to be a really overpriced eighth inning guy. Now eighth inning guys are making $50 million a year. Is Steve Cohen just throwing money around? Let me know how you feel about this in the comments below. Yankee fans, do you want Diaz now? Does this give the green light? Met fans, how do you feel about you getting Devin Williams? And even the rest of Blue Jays and Red Sox fans, you were talking about getting Devin Williams too. Is this a relief for you, or do you think you missed out on Low-Lev Dev?
Go a group of strong setup men in front of Williams as a closer, or Edwin Diaz in the back, Devin Williams setting up, and then a group of guys, hopefully strong group in front of them. I would say that's the better way to go. But there are many ways to build a bullpen. We know that. And often relievers come out of nowhere too. Now, you can't count on that, obviously. It's much better to have someone who's proven.
Well, actually, you know who does count on relievers coming out of nowhere is Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman's done an excellent job at just getting reclamation projects, dudes out of nowhere. Look at Dreamweaver. Perfect example. Converted starter with 6 pitches into a closer. That's what Brian Cashman can bring to the table. But his luck ran out this year. Every single year, he would just plug and play and be like, who is this guy that's just pitching out of his mind? And Jonathan Loaizaga being diggity dog shit this year and not coming back strong or even close to his last form really hurt the Yankees bullpen this year.
Proven like a Williams or a Diaz, but you can build a bullpen. The Mets can build a quality bullpen without Diaz and with Williams as their closer. They just would be better with Diaz as the anchor.
All right, Ken. He just threw you a slider. I'm going to throw you the nastiest knuckleball. Is there a chance they get Diaz because they don't want to spend on starting pitching, so they're going to shorten the game and get guys who can just go 4 innings like they have been and say, we have much more.
Well, listen, if David Stearns wants to play that game with the starting rotation again this year, he's going to be out of a job. Because, hey, listen, Stevie Cohen's got a lot of money, but he's only got that much money, and he doesn't like losing a lot of money. That's how you become a billionaire. But I'll tell you this, if you're going to run it back with Canning, with Clay Holmes, with Mania, Met fans, do you feel even strong, or do you even want that? I would say go get front-end starters. What happened to getting Skubal, trading for him? What happened to bolstering the starting end? There is great starting pitching available on the open market, and the Mets have a good offensive team. So it's not like they need to do that much of an overhaul with your starting pitcher, but literally the Mets had a large $300 million collapse last year because their starters couldn't go more than 3 innings. And that pitching staff that Stearns threw out in the first half of the year with Canning lighting it up and Clay Holmes, a converted closer from the New York Yankees, it didn't end well.
When Diaz, and even if you sign 3 other relievers, you're still going to need someone to take the ball at the start of the game. And it's really hard to win with 4 inning starts every night because you're going to your bullpen every night. The volatility that AJ was speaking of comes into play. So, no, their priority still has to be 2 starting pitchers, not 1 in my opinion, 2, and then go from there.
All right, Ken, well, who's next? Which reliever is next off the board? I know Pete Fairbanks has been mentioned. There's some other guys out there that are mentioned as
Now, speaking of Pete Fairbanks from Tampa Bay, I don't know why the Yankees aren't all over this guy. I would trying to be getting as many guys from the Tampa Bay Rays organization, because if that's one thing that the Tampa Bay Rays do well is develop players for other teams. It's like our farm system. Used to be anyway. But a guy like that could be had, I think, at $11 million, dude, I'd be all over that guy, especially a guy that you know can pitch in the AL East and knows all the other teams already. That is definitely, it's worth its weight in gold. And also, he's a gritty, tough guy.
the Diaz? Is it Fairbanks? Is it someone else? So we don't know. A late inning guy that it's going to get big money.
I would expect Fairbanks. In fact, I thought he might be the next one after Helsley. And of course, Williams signed first. Fairbanks has gotten a ton of interest. The Marlins have been a team on him. The Blue Jays have been a team on him. They've been on the other relievers as well, the late inning guys. Edwin Diaz is maybe going to take a bit longer because he has the qualifying offer. And that complicates things with.
See, Edwin Diaz is the big, sexy, big number name, and he's got, he's just the sexy pick. But I'll tell you this, Pete Fairbanks is the sure thing, bro. This guy's got the goods. And I could see the Dodgers signing Diaz and leaving Fairbanks out and available, and I would love the New York Yankees to take a tender on him. Let me know in the comments below. Out of the remaining relievers, who do you want on your team?
His market, teams have to give up a draft pick to sign him. Robert Suarez, I would expect that he's going to take a little bit longer too, though you don't know. And as the Williams signing showed, even the Ryan Helsley signing showed, the timing of these things are impossible to predict. But certainly we are seeing a run on relievers. We're seeing this from Raisel Iglesias to Phil Maton to Helsley to now Devin Williams, and I'm probably missing a couple. Andrew Kittredge had his option picked up by the Orioles after they acquired him in a trade. The relievers are clearly going first here, and there are quite a few left. We've got Luke Weaver left. We've got Emilio Pagan left.
Speaking of Luke Weaver, I haven't heard any news about the New York Yankees taking a shot out of him. I heard that he could be dictating about $1.2 million. As the New York Yankees, how can you not bring that guy back? 2 years ago, we threw this team on his back, coming out of nowhere, being the closer for this team. Last year, he was tipping his pitches. And like I've said before with Luke Weaver, it's like taking a golf lesson. The guys that's teaching you a golf lesson tells you not to play around because you'll just fall back into your old habit. So he was coming into games. He was trying the new arm slot. He would start getting shelled. He would go back into his old form. He'd start tipping pitches, and he'd get even more shelled. So I'm just saying, I think that Luke Weaver, from what he's shown us, being able to pitch in New York, being able to handle the pressure, I think he would deserve another year from the New York Yankees.
We've got Kenley Jansen still out there. So there are a number of options still available. Tyler Rogers is a hot guy too.
Hey, Ken, I want to be critical here of something that I think shouldn't be overlooked. Pete Fairbanks didn't have his option picked up. We're seeing what the prices are looking like. There's almost no chance that Pete Fairbanks is going to get less than what the Rays could have picked him up for. I believe that there was concern from the Rays that they weren't going to be able to flip him. But now looking back, I think many teams would have at least given up a prospect or two to lock in Pete Fairbanks for one season at, I believe, 10 or 11 million bucks. So how much did they screw up? This is a team that can't spend much, so they can't miss on the margins like this.
I agree, Scott. And actually, I asked that question after they declined the option. And what I was told is that they have had a hard time trading him, or they had a hard time trading him. It wasn't as easy as we might think. You know
why? I'll tell you exactly why the Tampa Bay Rays are having a hard time trading guys now, is because they've held people ransom. There's an old saying, if the Tampa Bay Rays call you during the trade deadline, don't pick the phone up. Okay, because they're gonna fleece you. So now, like, teams don't even want to talk to the Rays. I'm surprised the Yankees even did a deal with them inside the division. But yeah, that's the prime example, is now that the Rays, people like, screw you, man. You're not going to take all of our talent, because they love paying guys $11 an hour and getting, like, $11 million production out of those dudes.
he has had some physical issues, and that comes into it. But for whatever reason, at least in their mind, they weren't getting the value that they wanted for Fairbanks. Now, certainly, it appeared to me that in a market this vibrant, with teams, so many teams needing relievers, that someone would have given them a prospect, as you said, for Pete Fairbanks. But I don't know that they didn't try. They did try. It's just that they didn't get what they wanted. Now, should they have set their sights lower? That's something that we could talk about, but we don't know exactly what they were offered. So it's difficult to say. But this is a team that certainly is not afraid to trade. The last two deadlines, they've traded guys, a ton of guys, and yet they didn't trade Fairbanks. And perhaps that tells us that his market, at least in their eyes.
So what Ken Rosenthal is telling you in between the tea leaves right now, is this the guy that Tampa Bay Rays didn't want to let go out the door, and he did? And they financially lost him. I mean, this is an organization that had trouble paying the money to put a roof back on their own stadium for $11 million. So this is what I'm talking about. They're so frugal. They're so cheap. The Tampa Bay Rays are upset this guy walked out the door. You need to go get him. Now that I'm hearing this information from Ken Rosenthal, I almost want Pete Fairbanks more than I want Diaz now, because one, he's going to be cheaper. Two, I think he's a little bit younger. And three, the Rays didn't want to lose him. When that happens, grab him.
That about the center field market, with Jake Myers possibly being somebody that the Astros would trade. Does the center field market go through the aforementioned Minnesota Twins, just like you talked about with the trades with Buxton? And is that kind of the reason that maybe the Astros are looking?
Dude, the center field market is so bad. The New York Yankees gave Trent Grisham $22 million. Harrison Bader was like one of the most touted center fielders on the free agent market, and the Phillies scooped him up and gave him a qualifying offer. Buxton's name has been offered by the Twins. He would turn into one of the best center fielders. You know what? I would think he'd be great for the New York Mets. Also, it would be like when they got Mike Cameron. Remember that? I wouldn't say it'd be like Carlos Beltran, but it would be more like when they got Mike Cameron. It would be immediate upgrade. Just he's never healthy. The guy is a leadoff hitter. The guy's got all the tools. In fact, one of the downfalls of his game is that he tries too hard. I heard he plays the game too hard, like Bryce Harper, and it winds up on the injured list all the time. But a guy like that to the Mets, woof, that would be exactly what they need. A leadoff guy, big dude, can steal bases, and also bring more athleticism to the Mets.
In a baseball sense, is not clear at all. And the Twins can go one of two ways. They can continue what they started at the deadline, which was just tearing it down to the absolute nubs, or they can start to build back up again. They've got a core of decent players. Buxton, of course, foremost among them, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez. We can go right down the line in a division that is perennially one of the weaker divisions. They could build up again, fix their bullpen, which they traded everybody from.
Yeah, it's kind of sad how the Twins have fallen. They've been one of the best organizations in baseball, probably over the 15 or 20 years. Just sucks that they run into the New York Yankees, who own them perpetually. But he's right. The Twins have a lot of guys that they can build with, but every time I turn around, they're trying to sell everybody. So I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. That used to be a great baseball town, and now they're perpetually in fourth place, and now Detroit is the belle of the ball. The Royals have even gotten better. Even look at what the Guardians did last year.
July, and then try to compete. I don't know that that's the way they're going to go, and I don't know that they're going to trade Ryan, Pablo Lopez, and then Buxton too. I don't know if that's their choice. But Dan Hayes of The Athletic has written that if they continue this process, if, for instance, they choose to trade Ryan, then Buxton is going to be open to a trade as well. And it just all depends.
So this is what the this is what the offseason's coming down to, is that it's linchpins. These relievers are moving because that's not going to be a big domino. Once a guy like Ryan falls, once a guy like Buxton falls, and the trade market opens up, it's going to be like the floodgates have opened, folks, and then it's going to be nonstop. Like I said, don't forget to put your notifications on. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you watching, by the way. Thank you.
On the direction that they take, and that direction, again, is not yet clear.
Ken, you're talking about the Marlins hiring coaches and losing coaches and you're saying the free agent market is slowed by coaches? To me, as a player, I'm like, wait, why is the free agent market slowed by coaches? You have a manager, you have a general manager. It doesn't matter to me as a player.
Well, actually, that's very easy, Dr. Dipshit, is because you need to get your front office, you need to get your coaching staff, you need to get your GM, you need to get all that set before you guys can choose who you want to be on your team. So if you get a manager and all the players don't match the manager or vice versa, what are you going to do? So, yeah, you need to get your – did this guy play baseball?
The coaches are. I'm going to go play there if I want to go play there.
No, it's not that.
So,
maybe I didn't write it clearly enough, AJ, or maybe you're not.
Or maybe you're just retarded, AJ. I'm sorry, guys, but I had to. Sometimes AJ acts like he's got a gas leak in his house when he does this show. But listen, Ken Rosenthal just broke it down. Low-Lev Dev leaves New York. Sonny Gray hates the New York Yankees. And the Tampa Bay Rays and the Minnesota Twins are two huge linchpins and the first domino to fall in all the trades that are going to happen in this offseason. Guys, it's going to be hot. It's going to be heavy, and the floodgates are going to open. Don't forget to put that notification on. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. It's New York Minute Sports, baby. It's New York sports for New York nuts. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.